Hello and greetings. My name is Shua and I am the host and founder of the podcast called Light Up with Shua. It's a weekly podcast on conscious living and parenting. I hope you have subscribed to it so far and have been listening or watching the show. And if you haven't, please do so. I have a very special guest with me today. His name is Myles. And I think you will enjoy his vibrant way of talking and expressing. So let's begin. Welcome, Myles. How are you?
Thank you, Shua. I'm very good, very happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. All right, so we will go with a few questions about, I know you're not a parent.
Mm-hmm. That's
Are
correct.
you a parent? No. Okay. Okay.
Far from it.
Okay, far from it. So before I get into that, like, why far? No need to do that. So I would say, tell me, what do you do? And what are your hobbies or interests? And go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So I am a recent graduate from UMass Lowell, where I studied finance, and I'm about to start work in that field. I've worked in banking for like a little while now, and I live in Lowell right now. I grew up in Ayer, Massachusetts, and I have a few like hobbies here and there, like biking, jet skiing, regular skiing. Few things like that here and there. Things that keep you active, really.
Nice. So have you, is this your intentional field, career that you want to choose in finance, or is this forced by your parents?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I think my parents definitely would have chosen something different for me other than finance. It was...
For example, what would they have chosen? Do you have any idea?
Oh, they weren't really the kind of parents that, would make me want to choose one specific career.
Okay.
A lot of parents kind of have like specific careers in mind, but my parents were never like that. But I think my parents, particularly my mom, never was really trusting of like finance people and bankers. And,
from that angle.
So this is probably one of like the last things on the career list that she would have chosen for me, but it was something I was interested in.
Yep. So what made you interested in this? Money?
Yeah, money, not like having it necessarily. I thought it was kind of like an interesting thing to study.
Yeah.
Which,
so you like it? You enjoy
it? I definitely like it. It's definitely not like the most important thing. I definitely like it, and I think that it's kind of interesting beyond that, just seeing like how money works and just on a local and global scale. Exactly. Like there's I think it's somewhat interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good. So we might see you in some other role maybe if you don't continue in this field.
Absolutely.
Do you think that you will be, maybe doing your graduate studies or something?
I've been really thinking about doing graduate studies with computer science.
What a combination. That would be good.
Yeah, it could be really good, and it just definitely seems like the future of everything right now, so, and I think that's interesting too, in a way.
So I'm going to ask you some parenting questions that might reflect how your parents, your relationship with your parents is. So, so how would you describe parenting in your viewpoint, what it is?
I guess... there's a lot of different kinds of like parenting. I guess I would just say parenting is like how you interact with the child that you're raising. How you like, control, discipline, try and guide and help them. Any kind of interaction that you have with your child as you're raising them is basically parenting, I think.
That's true. Don't you think that parenting reflects what type of person you are? Because you become a parent later, but you are a human being and you have relationships first. So that's why my topic is conscious parenting and conscious living. So I would say that people think that it's something separate, but I think you would know, because you're not a parent yet, that your approach, how is your approach to your parents and to other people, to younger people, to, you know?
One thing I really liked about my parents is that they were very accepting people. You know, they were both very, you know, very like tolerant of all sorts of people, and you know, even you know, when I was a kid, and you know, we would both be really mad at someone, you know, whatever, for doing a particular thing. You know, if I got too far with that, they'd just be like, hey, you know, don't just, you know, they're people too, you know. So they
accepting for do you mean diversity?
Everything
oh,
like
okay.
that, diversity,
Faiths?
you know, faiths, yeah, absolutely.
Cultures?
Yeah, they never discriminated against anyone, really.
Do you?
Not really.
If they didn't?
Not really. I try to be accepting of most people, especially from like a diversity and faith standpoint.
So do you think that because your parents were accepting, that's why you are, or is this choosing of your own?
No, I mean, I think that had a lot to do with my parents, for sure. That, you know, teaching me that. I think that's an important thing for parents to teach.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you find yourself in a situation that that you feel that others are accepting you or not accepting you? Have you ever felt any of such feeling or situation?
I mean, I think that I think that a lot of people, once they've like gotten to know me, have been pretty accepting of me. I mean, there's been, you know, I'm sure plenty of times where that really hasn't been the case, but I really don't pay too much mind to that, you know. It's not something that I really think about.
You don't worry much, or, you know, live in that.
No, no. There's, I mean, there's enough people that are, you know, accepting and welcoming of me that the couple that don't, I really don't pay much attention to.
So you don't get back to them. You just like, that's how they are, leave it.
Yeah.
Is that the approach, or do you like, okay, I need to make sure that I convince them?
No, I mean, I just really try to be like very friendly and, you know, nice to most people. And if that's not enough for someone, then there's not, you know, I'm usually not going to go too much farther out of my way to, so you know, it might be the kind of person that I don't need their approval, you know.
And can we say that you are fairly secure in yourself?
Yeah, sure. I would say that. Yeah.
Good. So how do you become that? This is kind of you being a role model for other younger people. Like, any tips for the younger people?
Unfortunately, I really don't have much tips about bullying. That's not really something that I ever personally experienced.
Okay, good.
In terms of just like what you were talking about, being secure in yourself,
right.
I guess I would say the biggest thing there is trying to just be comfortable with the decisions you make. You know, like if you can be comfortable with most of the decisions that you make, and you feel good about them, then you're probably going to be secure in yourself. You know,
That's good.
Growing up for me is possibly a little bit different than other children. So, I mean, a lot of children I know, you know, maybe they were hard or not hard to deal with when they were younger, and then, you know, they were very rebellious as teenagers.
You were not?
No. So I was, when I was younger, I was just an absolute monster. I was very, very, very nasty kid.
Oh, okay.
And I have just gradually mellowed out over time. So by the time I got to my teenage years, I actually rarely fought with my parents.
Oh, wow.
So we got along very good by then. But when I was younger, I was just very, very nasty.
Okay. Well, we won't get into the details of that now.
Yeah.
So, okay. So are you a good listener to your parents?
Yeah, I try to be. You know, I definitely try to be a good listener. I don't always have the most thoughtful things to say, so I at least try and listen and do what I can with that.
Okay. So you think that, okay, now it's okay, yeah, they're being unreasonable, but let me it's okay, let me be patient. Do you do that? Or do you like, they're always so good that you don't have to think about it?
I do, depending on the situation, try to be patient with that sometimes, but how I react in basically any situation is all totally dependent on how reasonable I perceive it to be.
Okay.
So like
Very nice.
if somebody is being kind of hard on me, but I think that they might be reasonable to do it, it doesn't really bother me, but it just, my reaction is totally different if I don't think something's reasonable. So
Okay.
sometimes I'm patient with that and sometimes not so much.
Okay. Well, thank you for all these answers and thoughts. Really appreciate. Let's get into a little bit of interfaith, intercultural. Do you have friends from other cultures?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can you name any?
A lot of, I have a lot of friends from India.
Okay.
Is like the biggest thing.
Okay.
Because I met a lot of people from there in school, and I've been there twice. So that, in a lot of ways, I think there's a lot of cultural, differences there.
Yeah.
So I, definitely in that area, and then just in general too. You meet a lot of, college is a very diverse place. You get to meet
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I didn't really in my town I grew up in. It wasn't very diverse culturally. There wasn't really.
I think Groton is not either.
No,
right?
it's and Ayer and Groton were I liked growing up here, but that was just one thing that it was missing was something I immediately got a lot more of when I went to college, which was a good thing. I was very happy
good.
for it.
So you like the idea of being around diverse people?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. So, anything from your faith, if I don't know if you want to get into that, if you practice or not, or even if you don't, you must have grown up into a faith, or you didn't grow up into any faith. If you're comfortable talking.
No,
about
I can try to. So I guess my faith is. I'm not really a very religious person. My faith is kind of very open-ended. I did go to church when I was younger, but it was Unitarian Universalism,
Yes.
which what I took from that was not teaching you specific things about God or it wasn't too restrictive, but the main thing was kind of teaching you to respect other people and listen to other people and be truthful. It was trying to kind of get those good values out of religion without being very specific in certain ways. And I guess that's kind of how my faith is, in that, I absolutely believe there could be a God, for example, but I'm not committed to any specific interpretation of that. Or what he or it would want from us, if anything, and I'm just very open-ended in that sense.
Interesting. So you think that God might want something from you, not you wanting something from God? Now I'm getting into the philosophy of it.
Right. Well, that's certain religions might teach us that God wants people to behave in a certain way.
Right.
And a lot of that is
So what do
good.
you think?
It's one of those things where I do believe that there is probably some higher power out there.
More than you, that you
Right,
can't.
more than myself, that I might not be able to fully grasp. But that's kind of where I stop with it.
Okay.
Anything past that, I just feel like I wouldn't be able to figure out on my own, or really, make good judgments about it and whatnot.
Yep. Good. Very good. Very nice.
The things that I see in other faiths that I like are when the teachings just about that have to do with being respectful and treating others the way you'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
I think that there's a religion called like Jainism, and it's very a lot of it's about nonviolence. For example, like that, things like that I think are pretty commendable. You know, that's just one example. There's plenty of religions that probably teach similar things, but I just like those sorts of values that come from religion.
So the values are truthfulness, nonviolence.
Yeah, truthfulness, nonviolence, and just respect for other people. And I do think, like, if I have a family someday, I would be very open to the idea of going to church again, because it's not something I do right now. You know, I went to that Unitarian church when I was a kid. I haven't really continued much since, but if I did have a family, I certainly would be open to it, because I think that there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of good values that you can get out of that.
So why when you have family? Why not when you don't have family to go to the church?
Because I think that, well, one aspect of parenting is trying to like impart certain values on your children, I think.
Okay. From that angle.
And and so I think that church is one way you might be able to do that.
Okay, very good, nice.
I mean, I probably could benefit from it now. You know, I'm sure I could in some way, you know, just trying to make the time for it and everything. But I feel like it'll be more meaningful to me when I have, like, you know, a family and everything to go with.
Okay. So you want to have your family or kids to have those values.
Yeah, certain.
So you think that will
like
be...
that.
So you can get those values through the church only, or is there another
No,
way?
well, that's what I was saying. Like, that's one way that you can try and get. You know, there's a lot. I think that those values have to come from a lot of angles, and that's just one thing that can support that.
Okay.
You know, so that's one thing.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. What do you like about yourself?
I like that I guess I could say I can be kind of diplomatic at times, in that I can usually talk to people that have very different, you know, ideologies from me, or like political views, for example, and I can almost always have a very good conversation with someone like that, you know, mutually.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't know, that's like, I don't see everybody having those kinds of conversations these days. That, you know, trying to have good conversations with people you don't necessarily agree with right away. And I guess I just like that I at least make an effort to do that. I think I'm okay at it.
That's good, that's good. Something you would like to change about yourself?
Oh, plenty of things. Plenty of things. I mean,
just one. We don't want too many.
I guess like one big thing is like just being a little more proactive. You know, just being a little more like hardworking, proactive. Get up in the morning and just get started right away. You know, that sort of thing.
Okay. All right. Anything that you would like to say about money? Like, what is your relationship about the money?
I think that money,
being at your age, especially.
I think that money pretty much makes most things easier. I don't think that having money immediately makes you like a successful person. I don't think it's the most important thing, but it just makes a lot of things easier, you know, in terms of like trying to take care of yourself and others, and you know, just getting through life, really. I think it's very important for that. I think it's better to have. I definitely think it's better to have a little more money than you need than like not enough. You know, I think it undeniably just helps going through life. But that's not like what's important. That's not what makes us good people or successful.
So what is important?
What's really important to me is, you know, I know I've kind of said like respecting people a lot, but just like really, I don't know, trying to enjoy your own life without getting in the way of other people's lives. You know,
That's interesting.
You know, trying not to hold people back.
Has anybody ever held you back?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't that not.
And you
not,
don't do that to others?
I always try not to.
Okay. But have you done it?
Oh yeah, when I was younger, certainly. Like I said,
You are still
bad.
young. Okay.
Well, but like,
younger means like middle school.
I was bad when I was younger,
Oh,
but
okay.
like now
we
I
have to
try
do another show about when he was young and what did he do. That I need to. I mean, I don't have too much time now, but like we have to get into that. All right. So, is it fair to say that you have a healthy, fulfilling life?
Yeah, I think that I have a somewhat fulfilling life now, and I'm kind of constantly trying to improve that and get more towards like a healthy, fulfilling life. Like, being healthy, especially in particular, I'm working now to kind of be a healthier person, just like physiologically.
What about emotionally and mentally?
And then emotionally and mentally, like I would like to. One thing that would help me be a little bit more fulfilling is doing more to help other people, because I do plenty to help myself, but like part of you should definitely try and enjoy yourself a lot in life, but you should also try and help people along the way too. Yeah. Because no doubt somebody or many people have helped you to help get you where you are. And so helping other people is an important thing, and I'd like to do a little more of that. That'll kind of make me feel a little more fulfilled in general. And
so are you saying this from some experience that you have done some things for others and you felt good, or is this like the right thing to do that you think everybody does?
I mean, I have like had some experiences where I've helped people and felt pretty good about it, but I do think that it is just like the right thing to do, and to to help other people. You don't have to spend 100% of your time helping people, but you should spend some of your time helping people.
Okay. Thank you. So what's the value of gratitude in your life?
Well, gratitude is always great for getting through those tough times, like when you're having a really bad day or whatever. And that, I always come back to, thinking about how much, worse off a lot of people are. And, that doesn't immediately like make me happy off my bad day, but it helps, once you kind of realize, your place in the world and being grateful for it, it really helps you come back from, some dark times if you have them.
Thank you. Do you have a purpose in your life at this time, or are you still looking?
I'm kind of just floating around, really. I don't know if I have a
Should
solid
you have
purpose
a purpose?
Probably. I probably should.
Okay.
I don't know if I could point to like a solid purpose that I have right now.
Do you think your purpose, even if you find one, it will change after some time?
Yeah, it certainly could. It
has been, right?
Yeah, I don't think you just have to have like one single purpose for the rest of your life. I think as your life changes, your purpose can change too.
Yeah. Any advice for the youth?
One thing I wish that somebody had told me, and this is a little specific, but
sure.
I wish somebody had pushed me to study a little harder in math in particular. And the reason why I say that is because I've learned a lot of like things going through school, and a lot of things you can really just pick up on the fly. Certain things like, I don't know, like history, like if you really dive into those books hard enough, you can pick it up on the fly. But I always slacked off in math when I was younger. Like I really didn't like it, but I didn't realize how that it builds on itself, and you can't just learn that on the fly. I tried in college, and I got a little bit with that when I was in engineering school, but it was much harder than it could have been. And I just think that, even if you want to be like a painter or anything or something like that, those math and science skills are good to learn. You don't have to use them when you grow up. You can make your own choices.
That's a good advice.
But just having that that skill set gives you more options than if you didn't have it.
That's a very good advice, by the way.
Yeah, and
I would agree with it.
that's definitely something I want to impart in like my children if I have them. I don't care what career they do. You know, they can do whatever they want, but those types of subjects that are hard to pick up on the fly, I would really like to see them do well. And then if they never use them again, that's their choice. But you have so many more options that way.
Yeah, and also it helps your brain.
Yeah, oh yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It definitely
Left
helps
and
your
right brain.
Yeah.
I am sure you have heard about it.
Oh,
learned
yeah.
about it. Okay. All right. Let's come to the last question.
Sure.
What lights you up?
You know, I would say just all the little things. You know, just seeing a hummingbird fly by.
Oh.
You know, driving down the highway when there's no traffic.
Oh. At this
You
young
know,
age?
a rainbow, rainbow in the sky. Just all the little things.
Oh,
that,
you
know,
really like that. Oh, nice.
You don't
nice.
have to have yachts and like limos to.
What if you
a
have
great-
one? Would you be lighting up?
Oh yeah, oh certainly. You know, I
Okay.
would enjoy every aspect of
Okay,
it, but you know,
okay.
you can always enjoy whatever it is that you do have,
Okay.
and try and just make the most out of it.
All right.
So it's all the little things.
Thank you, Myles.
Thank
you
you,
so
Shua.
much for all what you have said. I really want to acknowledge you for all your replies, your insights, your time, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I hope it was some thoughtful conversation.
Yep.